Monique, tell me a little bit about your experience and what you bring to the table as far as qualifications.
Well, I come from the private sector, and I spent my entire career in the computer industry. Most recently spent several years at Hewlett-Packard, where I managed the Walt Disney account. And before that, I spent several years overseas managing a software company in Southern Europe and the Middle East. And so I got to see socialism up close. I lived in France for 4 years, and I came back home and said, I don't want that here.
Okay. So when you go to the Senate, if elected, what is going to be the number one issue that you think that needs to be addressed? What have the voters told you that they want addressed?
Well, number one issue is we have a lot of folks here that are on fixed incomes, whether it's because they're retired or because they just have a tight budget. And so every time we increase fees and taxes, that comes right out of their pocket, and they have to cut something else. And they keep telling me, you guys raised our taxes $2.2 billion in 2009. And in fact, it was my opponent, Thad Altman, that led that tax increase. And they want their money back. They gave us $400 million of it back this year. That's not enough. That's only 20%. We'd like the other 80% back too.
All right, now, what about long range? If you were to serve, 4 years, what would you like to see addressed over a period of time? Say that the number one issue gets addressed. What's your 2, 3, and 4?
Sure. Number 2 is I would really like to see simplification of some of our regulatory issues. Like, first of all, I spent 6 months of my time, I donated it to working on the Indian River Lagoon. And one of the biggest issues that there is even if we had the greatest plan in the world, there's absolutely no way to execute it because we have 3 layers of federal government on top of about 10 layers of state government on top of about 25 layers of local government, and it's just way too complicated. We don't even have one water management district that manages, that's responsible for the lagoon. So it's very difficult to actually execute any of these things, no matter how well-intentioned or how successful the plan might be.
Okay, so the lagoon.
Well, the lagoon, but regulation is the bigger issue because it's affecting our businesses too. I mean, these are just silly things. We have way too many layers on layers. I'd like some common sense approaches. If we regulate something, you got to be able to enforce it. Otherwise, you're not regulating it. And we've got a lot of regulation with no enforcement, and that's the first easy layer to get rid of.